In the headlines, no hope for New Zealand tour. UK government rejects footballers' call for free school meals. And behind closed doors Wimbledon Championship, a possibility. Good evening and welcome to the major ZDK Sports Edition for Friday, October 16, 2020. I'm your presenter, Terry Laraji. And now for the details. We begin tonight bowling off with cricket. Cricket West Indies, CWI, today announced the two squads for the proposed tour of New Zealand, which will feature 3 T20 internationals and 2 test matches from November 27 to December 15, with the big omission from the test squad being that of Shai Hope. CWI Chief Selector Roger Harper, speaking with the media this morning, acknowledged that the batting has been under the microscope for some time and the selection committee felt that it was needed to give Hope a break so he can go back and work on his game.
With regards to Shai Hope, I think we'd all agree that Shai Hope has not been at his best in Test cricket for quite a while. He's performed very well in the 50-over version, but in Test cricket he's not been anywhere close to his best, and this has gone on for a while. So we've given him an opportunity to go back and work at this aspect of his game and get his batting up to the sort of standard that we know he's capable of, because I think that there's a tremendous future for him in Test cricket, but he needs to get his batting back to where we know it can be.
Harper believes that sometimes you need to give a player who is struggling a break from the game.
I think sometimes, by continuing to select a player that isn't doing well, times you do them more harm than good. I think we recently saw the situation with Darren Bravo, right, who had a pretty lean trot in Test cricket, and he's been given a break. He's shown that, he's gotten back his hunger. He's formed in all formats of the game, really. In the longer version, he's made run. In the 50-over version, made run. So, like I said, we've given Shai an opportunity to go back and work at his game and find his best in the longer format. And I repeat that I think that Shai has an important part to play in the future of West Indies cricket.
Roger Harper. Harper noted that CWI have put a process in place for Hope where he will be working with head coach Phil Simmons and coaches in his native Barbados for him to have a chance of earning his place back in the team. In 6 innings against England earlier this year, Hope managed just 105 runs at an average of 17.5 and has not scored a test century in 3 years. In the test squad, there is a return for left-handed batsman Darren Bravo and Shimron Hetmyer, as well as all-rounder Keemo Paul. A group of reserves will also travel to help prepare the test squad during the quarantine period and training camp, as well as cover for injuries. Andre Fletcher, the experienced wicketkeeper batsman, has been named in the T20 international squad for the first time since 2018. There is a maiden call-up in this format for Kyle Mayers, the Barbadian all-rounder, who performed well in last month's Caribbean Premier League CPL. All-rounder Andre Russell and top-order batsmen Lendl Simmons and Evan Lewis have opted not to participate in the tour. The full squads are as follows. The Test squad: Jason Holder, captain; Jermaine Blackwood, Craig Brathwaite, Darren Bravo, Shamar Brooks, John Campbell, Roston Chase, Rakeem Cornwall, Shane Dowrich, Shannon Gabriel, Shimron Hetmyer, Shamar Holder, Alzari Joseph, Keemo Paul, and Kamar Roach. The test reserves include Nkuma Bonner, Joshua De Silva, Preston McSween, Shane Mosley, Raymond Reefer, and Jaden Seals. The T20 international squad comprises of Kieran Pollard, captain; Fabian Allen, Dwayne Bravo, Sheldon Cottrell, Andre Russell, Shimron Hetmyer, Brandon King, Kyle Mayers, Robin Powell, Keemo Paul, Nicholas Pooran, O'Shane Thomas, Hayden Walsh Jr., and Kesrick Williams. Harper sees the return of Darren Bravo and Shimron Hetmyer after they opted out of the England tour as players who can give more depth to the batting top order.
The batting at the top has been a bit of a problem. We're hoping that the return of Darren Bravo, especially considering that making runs consistently in every format played in time, that will add some solidity and leadership at the top of the order and help us to lay that sort of foundation and build big total. And Shimron Hetmyer, we know he's a very talented player. I think he gives us a lot more depth in quality and in ability in that middle order. So we're hoping that he'll be able to seize this opportunity to showcase just how good a player he is. So I think the return of those guys is very important. Look forward to it adding more depth and solidity to the batting.
In relation to the T20 squad, Harper explained that the inclusion of all-rounder Rovman Powell and fast bowler Shane Thomas was down to nobody else outperforming them.
The competition for places, persons competing for those places didn't do much better. And what we looked at was that those guys were in the squad from the previous tour, right? So I think the guys who were pushing for the places would definitely have to outperform them. And I'm afraid that during this CPL as well, real terrific performances. I think the batting left quite a bit to the side in some cases. So guys competing for places didn't really outperform them, and they were in squad. So we've given them another opportunity again.
Roger Harper. Powell played 11 games in the recently concluded CPL, scoring only 106 runs, while Thomas played 3 games for a return of only 1 wicket. Details of the tour were ratified by CWI's Board of Directors during a teleconference call on Thursday. The board agreed to the tour in principle, subject to final details on medical and logistical protocols of CWI, New Zealand Cricket, and the Government of New Zealand. And speaking on yesterday's Sportsline show, legendary West Indies fast bowler Courtney Walsh believes for the Windies to return somewhere near the glory days. Current day players need to find that pride of place.
We have seen steps in the right direction from time to time, but we lack that consistency. We have to try to get that consistency, get that mode going, so there's a vibes, and then get the youngsters who are coming in to have that self-belief and wanting to do well, and the pride for playing for the West Indies.
Courtney Walsh. Meanwhile, out-of-favour West Indies women all-rounder Chanel Daly has called on the sport's local and regional authorities to provide more opportunities for female cricketers looking to contribute both on and off the field. 8 years ago, Daly was one of the world's top-ranked all-rounders and one of only a handful of female players offered a retainer contract by Cricket West Indies. The player, however, saw the trajectory of her career altered when she suffered a devastating knee injury against Australia in 2015. After struggling to return to her best form, losing her retainer contract, and the team's disastrous showing at the 2017 Women's ODI World Cup, Daly stepped away from the sport. Having worked through various issues, including a battle with depression, the cricketer began an earnest search for a way back into the sport. Difficulty getting back into the West Indies team would have been expected, but Daly has found herself gravely disappointed by limited opportunities provided to women looking for roles within the sport off the pitch. Meantime, with communities around Antigua and Barbuda looking to bring the interest back into cricket with the youths, West Indies legend Sir Curtly Ambrose believes that it's important to make that start for future success.
Got to start somewhere, and I have no problems, if it starts in the school or if it starts in the community. I mean, either way, once you get something started, that's the most important thing. Get these young aspiring cricketers interested in the game. So if it means starting in school as a young boy or girl, then that's a good way to start as well. But then it can't be left up to just when you're going to school. Because as a school coach, you only have a short amount of time, really. The community must and have to play a great role to get these cricketers to progress.
Ambrose took part in the Revival Cricket Camp in his home village's suites recently, where he did spot some talent.
There are a few that basically that camp was to get the interest first and foremost, because the first day we had, I think it was like 20 odd, and by the next day it kept going higher and higher, end up with about maybe 70 by the end of the week. Yeah. So the interest is there. So I think what we really wanted to do is to create the interest first. Just give them some basic drills to do. We are playing cricket as opposed to have them first timers. So you have to take it very slow. Get them to enjoy it first. Give them some certain drills so they can enjoy it. And as we progress and go along, that is when they can basically get the basics going. Interest is what we needed first.
Sir Curtly Ambrose. The Suites Revival Camp, organised by the Helping Hand Foundation, continues every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. Meanwhile, in the Indian Premier League IPL today, after the Mumbai Indians attack fired in unison to keep Kolkata Knight Riders to 148, they sauntered to the target with 8 wickets and 19 balls to spare to seal their 5th successive victory. The result has set up a two-way tie at the top of the IPL leaderboard with the Delhi Capitals. Scores: Mumbai Indians 149 for 2 off 16.5 overs, De Kock 78 not out, Rohit 35, Varane 1 for 23. Beat Kolkata Knight Riders 148 for 5, Cummins 53 not out, Morgan 39 not out, Chahar 2 for 18. And the England Wales Cricket Board, ECB, is considering an invitation to tour Pakistan in the early stages of 2021. England have not travelled to Pakistan since 2005, but have been offered the chance to play white ball games, reportedly 3 T20 fixtures, in January. The Pakistan Cricket Board, PCB, agreed to play fixtures on English soil earlier this year amid the coronavirus pandemic, as did the West Indies, who also believe England should return the favour. England's schedule for the coming months is still unclear due to the impact of the COVID-19 crisis, with tours to Sri Lanka and India yet to be confirmed. Meanwhile, an ambitious blueprint with the objective of the United States being upgraded to a full member of the International Cricket Council (ICC) by 2030 has been announced by the country's governing body. USA Cricket's foundation plan aims to grow engagement, increase participation, improve its nation's teams, operate sustainability, and build trust across the local cricket community through until the end of 2023. Its long-term goal in building a platform for American cricket is to join the ICC's top table, currently comprising of the 12 test-playing nations, with Afghanistan and Ireland the last to join the group in June 2017. In other sporting developments tonight, kicking into football, the UK government has rejected calls from Marcus Rashford to extend the free school meals scheme to include half-term and Christmas holidays. The Manchester United and England forward launched an online petition on Thursday, urging the government to make 3 commitments to support vulnerable children as part of the End Child Food Poverty campaign. The campaign is supported by the Child Food Poverty Task Force, which was formed by Rashford, as well as a further 20 charities and key names in the food industry. But the latest proposal appears to have fallen on deaf ears, with the government confirming later on Thursday that they have no plans to offer further direct support. Meantime, clubs from the English Championship, League One and League Two have turned down the Premier League's £50 million bailout and have told the EFL board they will decline any help, which excludes any of its members. The Premier League has offered grants and interest-free loans totalling around £50 million to clubs in League One and League Two, but has made no funds available for clubs in the Championship. The CEO of one of the Championship clubs reportedly told Sky Sports News that the bailout offer is simply an attempt to create a divide between Championship clubs and those in Leagues 1 and 2. Stepping into the boxing ring, Kubrat Pulev has made a reference to Anthony Joshua's skin color ahead of their expected world heavyweight title fight in December. The Bulgarian will challenge for Joshua's WBA, IBF and WBO titles, with the date and venue for the fight set to be announced. But when asked for his verdict on the British champion, Pulev referred to the color of Joshua's skin, saying he has a better tan than me. That's about all. Joshua was originally set to face Pulev at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in June, but the fight was rescheduled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Serving into tennis, Wimbledon is set to go ahead next year, even if the Grand Slam tournament has to be staged behind closed doors, organisers announced on Friday. The Grass Court Championships were cancelled this year for the first time since World War II because of the coronavirus pandemic. The All England Club is planning for several scenarios in 2021, a full-capacity Wimbledon, reduced numbers of fans, or holding the tournament with no spectators present. Touching down in gridiron, the NFL has confirmed the 2021 Pro Bowl will not take place as planned in January as the United States continues to fight against the coronavirus pandemic. With a rescheduled and rejigged regular season having already seen several games postponed due to the coronavirus, the league have elected against going ahead with the All-Star Game. Las Vegas had been due to host the event on January 31, though the All Giants Stadium will be the venue for the 2022 game. And finally tonight on this day in history, in 1995, a violent assault by Brian Charles Lara on the Sri Lankan bowlers in a Champions Trophy match in Sharjah. Lara made his highest one-day score, 169, of just 129 balls with 15 fours and 4 sixes. It was the spinners who bore the brunt. Kumar Dharmasena disappeared for 72 off 10 overs, and Aravinda De Silva 51 off 6. But Sri Lanka almost won, despite a seemingly impossible target of 334. Hashan Tilakaratne hit an even 100 to lead a recovery from 109 for 5, but when he was last out in the final over, Sri Lanka were an agonizing 4 runs short of victory. And that story has brought us to the end of our sporting developments for tonight. Now to recap our top story. Cricket West Indies today announced the 2 squads for the proposed tour of New Zealand, which will feature 3 T20 internationals and 2 test matches from November 27 to December 15, with the big omission from the test squad being that of Shai Hope. I've been your presenter, Terry Laraji. Thank you for listening. To watch ZDK Sports Package, go to the YouTube channel of Terry Laraji, The Straight Bat, and subscribe. Stay tuned now for your Voice of America update. Do enjoy the rest of your evening and have a great week.